Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I'm Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And not Ron, who I'm beginning to suspect is avoiding podcasts and has things conveniently come up when it's time to talk about what is happening in Chelsea right now. I'm a little disappointed he's not here on this pod. I got things I want to talk about. I want to talk about their new English teacher who's managing the team right now.
Only Rosine knows.
Yeah. Hey, wait, excuse me. I got a note for you. Ron's not here. He passed us a note. Let us know he would.
Oh, okay.
He grabbed us on the sidelines and just passed us a note.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Wait, let me guess. Did he do that in like the 89th minute when the aggregate was like 1,500 to 0 and thinking that the game's and the tie is going to change?
Yeah, and he's like, you read this note. It's going to inspire you.
Yeah. No, that's what I thought. But then you hand it to somebody named Garnacho, who is a tattooed Argentinian Muppet who maybe decides to show up every 5th game and has a spectacular goal every 30 game. And then anytime in between that, he doesn't even actually read anything. So he barely understood the message and they still lost 1,500 to 0.
He's just a good teacher trying to get the kid to read. That's what it is. Gave him a little note that said, it said, Chelsea's blue, your hair is dyed blonde. I don't know why you're here. My God, you're so dumb.
It is something like that.
I'm pretty sure.
And by the way, Phil, thank you for sending me some Man United cards, one of which is a Alejandro Garnacho Manchester United. Thank you.
Oh, man. Just delightful.
And some other good ones, don't worry.
I was as someone who was an Arsenal fan being like, I wanted you to keep Garnacho. Oh, he's going to Chelsea. Never mind. This is great.
Yes. This is even better.
This is even better. Is you want to go to Tottenham next? Let's do that. Let's do that too. Well, on tonight's Brewtiful Game, besides just ragging on Ron's Chelsea while he's not here, although I really wanted to get his viewpoint on the manager. So bad tonight. Speaking of managers, what are we talking about tonight? Well, Igor Tudor is still in job as an ex-Evertonian, scores late for Tottenham to draw 1-1 with Liverpool at Anfield. I have thoughts there too. I got a lot of manager thoughts for this pod.
That's why I put that one first.
Then a 16-year-old makes flipping history. City can't City, and Carrick is back at the wheel. I have more thoughts. We could have made this a whole manager pod.
Just a manager pod. Okay.
As we discuss some of the scorelines and storylines from around the Premier League match week 30 in another edition of a double 2x2 minute drill. Then as the halftime whistle blows, don't count your chickens before they've walked off the pitch. And the 57-day reverse of all reverses. Ferris shares with us the crazy story which broke yesterday. And no, we're not talking about the fact that somehow Chelsea got fined $10 million when if they had lost as many points as other teams had lost for what they did, they would be losing 2,970 points for the amount of illicit money they were playing. Man,
maybe that was the note that he passed off.
Maybe that's the note he passed off.
Explain the hows and whys of that.
But we're going to talk about on the Liga's Roundup edition of the WTF AFCON Believe It. That is the story out of Africa with AFCON is just bonkers, man. I saw that and was like, well, I know what the pot is.
We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then with Ron's late deciding not to take the note and just staying on the bench, I decided just to make that a good just talking point in place of his beer news because you know what? That is a pretty wild story that I don't think we really haven't seen a whole lot throughout.
But we didn't list.
And even in a game of this magnitude, that was a final.
And not for nothing, just because Ron's not here, we got to make sure we squeeze in the details of that fine that Chelsea just got, because that is also... We'll get there. Okay, we'll get there. And then finally, we're going to update you on who's advanced out of the round of 16. We are recording this today after the Wednesday matchups happen. We're going to look at the Champions League, check in with our Scottish correspondent, and talk a little NWSL following a busy opening weekend to kick off the 2026 season. All that and more in this edition of the La Liga's Roundup. But first, our beer. I have part 2 of my beer from last episode.
Well, then go ahead.
Not the same brewery, but I was last episode.
Well, remind everybody what you had on the last.
Well, I would say last episode I had from St. Bernardus. I did their triple because they make a classic version of a triple. So today I'm going back to Pennsylvania at Trogs Brewery, who I think I've had like 3 or 4 of their beers now. And let me just tell you, every one of them is great. This is they're from Hershey, Pennsylvania. A famous for their Mad Elf Christmas beer. And also the Troganator IPA. That's the other one they're famous for, which I don't think I've done I never get the Troganator because it's so ubiquitous everywhere. I always get their different stuff. But I wanted to reset my palate because I had not had a triple in a while. So that's why last week I went with a very classic style. So this is the Trogs Le Grave bottle conditioned triple. And
it's not a fancy writing.
I know, got my cork back so I can pop this thing perfectly. It says named after our favorite French backcountry ski town. So I guess that's Le Grave. Le Grave's secondary bottle fermentation adds complexity and produces a rocky, heady, releasing aroma of crusty bread and earthly spices. Our triple golden ale carves out ripe pear, straw, and black pepper flavors with a dry champagne finish. 8% ABV, little 12.7% ounce bottle. Always serving a chalice, so I got my St. Bernardus chalice back to rock this bad boy. That's 2 episodes in a row I've gotten Ron's favorite style, and he hasn't been on.
Yeah. It's almost like you planned that or something. I'm kidding.
I know. I'm excited to try this bad boy.
Sounds fantastic. The bottle looks fancy and bougie. All right. Let me go down here to the beer fridge real quick.
God, you're still avoiding the final of the Australian roulette.
Yes.
Bad
I was
beers.
expecting that we were going to have that and then maybe introduce this beer or just have a random beer. So we'll probably have this beer as our second beer the next time because it'll probably have more of it. But anyways, we just had St. Patrick's Day. So I guess not this past weekend, but the weekend before that, I was doing a gig down in Bonita Springs, Florida, which is on the West Coast, the Gulf Coast, the best coast in Florida. And I had gotten that down there a day early. The gig was on a Saturday. I got there on Friday. One of the things I like to do whenever I do these gigs is if I get there early and don't have anything to do before the gig, I just always chalk the gig day up to just doing that gig, right? You work your ass off, 16-hour days, just doing whatever. But the day before that, I like to kind of see what's in the town, right? So about 5-10 minute drive from the venue that we were doing it at, I dropped off the gear, did all of that, but then looked up the local brewery and happened upon one called Hopsized. And I was like, that sounds like a brewery that I would enjoy. And sure enough, took a quick drive down there, had a few beers, and it was just awesome Friday night experience, a big open brewery, outside area. And you can head over to hopsizebrewing.com. And their story is Hopsize Brewing started off like most craft breweries, home brewing in a garage. Originally from Miami, Florida, co-founders Anna and Darlin, a.k.a. Vic, relocated to Fort Myers in 2016. Vic began home brewing May of 2019, following suggestions from Anna, given his love for craft beer at the time, especially New England IPAs. A few months later, they were off to winning awards at local home brewing competitions. Vic continued to expand his knowledge for brewing, applying his background in science each step of the way, from learning water chemistry, recipe creation, hop utilization, blending, survivables, the importance of pH, and healthy yeast management. It wasn't long before their entrepreneurial drive led them to formulate a business plan. A little over 2.5 years later, Hopsize Brewing opened its doors in beautiful Bonita Springs, Florida. And
I miss those good Florida breweries with the outdoor seating.
Oh yeah, it was great. And I had a few. Obviously, I had a IPA that was fantastic. I just asked the bartender, what's his favorite one. Went up there, and I actually there I had they do this hop-sized nebulous brews in this collection they call the Diary of Haze. And I had the Nectaron IPA, which is a New England IPA, which is fantastic. So I went back the next day to get cans. They didn't have that one, so I got a different one from the Diary of Haze. And that's what I have on here right now. And it is the Diary of Haze Citra, an IPA, New England, 7% ABV. And I don't, because they only have the, when you go to some breweries, they only have like the on tap.
Yeah.
They don't actually have like the beers they're doing and that sort of thing. So they're just doing the on Tapped here. I'll have to see if I can find the information everywhere else. But yeah, the Diary of Haze is they have like 5 or 6 beers in this kind of collection of the diary, if you will.
It's a great can. It should be sold at like an Orlando City game. It's like purple and gold. Yeah.
It's awesome. So 7% Nebulous IPA, 7%, 1 pint by volume. Hopside Brewing out of Bonita Springs.
That is a tasty sounding one.
Yes, indeed.
All right, man. I'm ready to do this. I gotta take the wire. I should have taken the wire off while you were talking. I forgot.
Yeah, well, and what was your ABV that you said?
This one's 8%. So it's a triple. It's not a super strong triple, but
we're a percent away.
Here we go.
Ooh. That.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh,
I hope that sound effect came through nice and clear.
See the cold coming out.
Well, I took this out early enough to let it warm up just a tad. Oh, man. This thing smells delicious. I don't even know if this chalice is going to be big enough.
God, this is thicker.
Oh, bro. Check that out.
Oh, yeah. Look how cloudy this bad boy is.
Whew. Yeah, this is definitely this is cloudy for the fact that it's got that yeast sediment from the bottom of the glass. But yeah, yours is super hazy.
Man, oh man. It's a perfect pour if I do say so myself.
I can't wait to try this thing. I just love that, like, you know, it used to be so hard to like find these things, to find these triples, to find your quads, your Belgian beers. Mm-hmm. Like you really had to go to specialty stuff. And we're so flippin' spoiled now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, truly, with the exception of Butternut, our Butternut adventures, I have still yet to really, like, every time I go to a brewery or try something, I'm like, it's not like it used to be. You're at the worst, it's fine most of the time, you know? Yeah. Or really at worst, maybe it's just a style you're not really into. Is about the extent of it. But man, it's a good time for beer. I know it's been a lot of depressing raw beer news of how many breweries and stuff are closing, but man, some good beer is being made.
Oh yeah.
Cheers, my friend. I can't believe we didn't do something Irish since it was just St. Patrick's Day. But
yeah, I did do a Guinness yesterday though. So
I guess for this French one, I'll say salut. Oh, all right. That's good. So if last week was like the perfect example of the style of a triple, and this says, what is it? It says flavors of ripe pear, straw, and black pepper. I get all of that. Do you remember, was it Castle Church Brewing or something like that? And they had the peppery sort of beer that they brewed that was like Martin Luther brewed. It was the brewery that was a church.
I wish that brewery would have continued on. That was a super cool brewery.
Yeah, it was a Lutheran church, but it was a brewery. Yeah.
That was a super cool one.
The peppery finish reminds me of their Kolsch that they did. This is really good. It's not as crisp as the St. Bernardus was, but it's quite good. It's really good. I'm glad I had the St. Bernardus first to compare. This is a darker a darker flavor, if that makes sense. This is dang good.
7% hazy IPA, packed with just floral notes and fruity notes. They absolutely know how to do themselves. Vic and Anna, was that what it was? Absolutely know how to do themselves. Some IPAs, very well done here.
I was trying to make a segue. Speaking of well done, that's not what I don't even know how to. What a weird, not a weird match, but what a weird result with teams. With two teams that are being weird up first for our Premier League conversation.
Absolutely.
As we go to Liverpool 1, Tottenham 1, following the Igor Tudor and Tottenham drama from last week, there weren't many thinking that Tottenham would go away to Anfield and get something from their match with Liverpool, but that's exactly what they did. I'm going to say, I did have a feeling, watch Liverpool just screw this up. Because they've been wildly inconsistent. And now a fourth set-piece goal of the season was scored beautifully by Dominic Szoboszlai in the 18th minute of play. And while that goal was looking like that would be the winning margin of the match, despite playing pretty well throughout, Tottenham couldn't quite break through until the 89th minute. And I mean, it really looked Igor Tudor was on the way out. In the 89th minute, with a familiar villain face at Anfield popped up in front of goal and slotted home the equalizer, the ex-Everton player who has scored 5 other times at Anfield made his 6th one count and possibly extended his interim manager's job by a bit longer. So we ask, who goes first, Tudor or Slot? I mean, truly, it was like, oh my God, how embarrassing for Liverpool. Because even though I believe they absolutely had the capacity to botch this for the season, or botch this match this season, I should say, it's just everything was slotted against Tottenham, and for Liverpool, I just don't understand. I mean, today, what was their score, Ferris? 4-0 against Galatasaray?
4-0, yeah. It was. They were down 1-0 going into it against...
and Galatasaray had beaten them 1-0 or 1-0.
And they put up 4 today. It was at Anfield this time, right?
Sure.
Galatasaray won. So,
but
it
so
was at Anfield in this one, though, too.
Yeah, it's so as it was at this match. And just, today it seemed like Salah reemerged from the Pharaoh's tomb. But
yeah, it's taken him a while to get going since AFCON. And certainly not in the league, but he's been a little bit better in the Champions League. I have to look back at some stats maybe or something to go, where would this team be without some Dominic Szoboszlai's goals in some of these games? Because they've either been the tire, they've been the winner, they've been, how many points has he just gained alone on some of these just awesome free kicks that he's getting? Because in open play, you would have thought that Liverpool would have added on to it. 63% possession, 1.70 on expected goals, 17 total shots.
And Liverpool needed this to go draw even with Aston Villa. This was a big game for them. This is a big match. Like, yes, 5th place looks like it will be going into a Champions League slot this year for the Premier League. However, guarantee your slot by getting in 4th. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just...
I guarantee your slot by getting in. Thank you.
But they just seemed timid against a team that has not been able to defend. And not only that, Tottenham, how many people were they missing in their team still at this point? Like, I don't...
Yeah, but they had the most big... They had the better of the big chances in this, 2-1, and they made one of those count.
Yeah.
And I just don't know, like, what... Explain to me this front three. Gakpo as a number 9, Verts sitting in behind, Frimpong, who is a right-left wing back, and then the young lad, I'm going to butcher his name, I apologize, Rio Ngoma, if I'm saying that right, 17 years old off to the left. I get it, you got to rotate because you're playing in Champions League and that sort of thing. But again, you bring on your Adetike, your Salahs, your Curtis Joneses, your Chiesas to try to get something from the game. So it just didn't look like this front three of Liverpool this year, no matter what front three it is, just doesn't look to be flowing freely the way they have in years past.
Which is bonkers because it's ridiculous talent. Even if they're struggling on the back line, they should be putting in 3 a game.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
especially based on talent alone, you would certainly think that. But from a Tottenham side of things, it's almost like this is what you want out of a team in the respect that you completely put the last match behind you, that miserable match earlier in the week against Champions League, and then you go on to the next. And
the problem, though, is you're being nipped at on the heels. They were very lucky that they weren't 17th after this, because
all 7 of the bottom teams all drew this weekend.
Yeah, but those draws for 2 of those
points, so there wasn't a whole lot of change there, right?
No, but that was huge. I mean, that draw for West Ham and Nottingham, absolutely enormous. So yes, Tottenham now is, but they started the day tied when they started playing tied with those teams for being in a relegation spot. They got a point. It's
had West Ham beaten Man City, that would have put Nottingham into the bottom 3 and or Tottenham bottom 3.
Well, and Nottingham could have won their match too. I mean,
exactly.
It was that was the one by a centimeter, right?
Yep.
That was. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about that. That VAR is a little against the spirit of the game to me. that particular offsides call. But you just started saying something though that like that to me. That's from the pundits. What you hear like, oh well, this is really big for them. They did like, but I don't know, man. I mean, you have 30 points. Yes, it's true. If you could draw 5 matches, you're probably safe. But based on the Champions League appearance today and yesterday or today, yeah. I mean, they scored 3 goals today, but it didn't matter. They lost on 5-7 aggregate.
Well, and you know what? It's probably good that they're out of it. Well, because on Sunday they have Nottingham Forest next.
And Nottingham, they struggle.
That's 16 and 17th in the table, only split by 1 point.
They are so lucky that Nottingham Forest does not have a mediocre goal scorer, because Nottingham isn't atrocious in defense. They just don't have anybody that can score. And that right there might be what saves Tottenham.
There's no Chris Wood's been out for a lot of the year. There has been
because we know
got a lot of those consistent goals last year, along with also Anthony Alonga, who had himself a pretty good game in the first half today in the Champions League, but with his move to Newcastle, a lot of that scoring power is out of there, right? No Morgan White-Gibbs for them anymore. They got stripped of a lot of their attacking talent in Nottingham there.
Yeah, so, and again, I mean, yes, they have a negative 15 goal differential. I mean, they've definitely been scored on, but they just don't have the ability to put points back on the board very well. And that right there may be the only reason Tottenham survive, because I could easily see
3 worse teams in them. Yeah.
Well, I could easily see with Forest's inability to put a point on the board frequently that West Ham, if you told me to bet between Forest and West Ham right now and both tied at 29 points, I think I'd put my money on West Ham as the ability to get out of there.
Yeah, I agree.
But when this is over, Spurs still are the 4th most likely to go down, or in terms of percentages. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're still in a really bad spot. So, does this, to your question, does this mean that, is this bad or good if they lost and got rid of Tudor and brought in someone that, or is this bad because he stays? Because I still don't think he's got the team.
Right. I don't know what you do with 8 games left. Where do you go? Who do you bring in to do something this quickly to change any sort of it? You're not going to. You tried that, right? You tried that with Tudor. It's not working, or seemingly not working too well. And now you're kind of stuck with them.
And also, like,
if you sack him, who's going to take charge? Who's going to even come in? By that time, they even get their feet on the ground. What? You maybe 4 games left, 5 games left?
And while it's true that they lost the last 6 matches, didn't lose this one, they are on an 11 Premier League match winless streak. The worst since 2004.
Tudor hasn't won a game in the Premier League since he's been in charge.
I don't know, man. Like, there's a part of, like, I mean, there's a problem. Like, even if you went down swinging, but you brought in, I know, I'm trying to think, who would you bring in to Everton?
Dyche would be your quickest, best option there. We've talked.
Is there like a carrot type? Is there a former player that, like,
Ryan Mason's been talked about, but I don't know where he's currently at right now, and I don't know if he could actually come in and do a job. He's come in before on an interim basis, but again, you only have 8 games left. Like, you're kind of stuck with the guy. Either way, at the end of the season, you're not going to give him a full-time contract, so he's out regardless, right? But I don't know. Furthermore, where exactly they go.
I think it's honestly,
that thing thing where mine needs to be just survival. Just survive. That's it.
I think my problem is if I were sitting in charge of Tottenham, I would just, I'd be so afraid of doing nothing. Yeah, it's only 8 games, but like I said, if you could get 5 draws, you're probably safe. People will hate you, but I take that back. If they got 5 draws with Iger Tudor, they'd be happy that they survived and be like, now get us somebody else. Anybody else that came in and managed to get 5 draws, they'd probably love them as heroes and say, thanks for coming in. There's just something like it's all, and I don't think this is too dissimilar from Chelsea's situation. Any success Tottenham is having, which has not been a lot, obviously, since Iger Tudor come in, a draw is what we're talking about. And then I think it's the players, man, in spite of making it happen. I mean, this was Charleston, but he can't stay healthy. He can't. Also, not only that, Iger Tudor doesn't play him. He doesn't start him.
Yeah, but he's almost better coming off the bench. He did that a lot.
It's true
for Everton, and he was very good. But there's has to be player pride that comes into this, right? That they want to do well. There's not like they're bad players. They're we talked about it last time. There's a lot of good players at that club. They're just not getting them organized. But they have a pretty brutal, and I know we've been over this before, but Nottingham, Sunderland, Brighton, Wolves, Villa, Leeds, Chelsea on the last day of the Premier League.
And even Wolves right now is a problem, man.
Correct. You don't look at a single one of those games the way that Tottenham's playing and think that they're even going to get a draw out of it. That's not good. I think they do get a draw out of probably about half of those. Do they get a win out of there? I don't really know where they're going to get a win. Because you're going to be playing Leeds the second to last weekend of the Premier League. Both of you are going to be fighting to stay alive. You're playing Wolves, obviously still trying to fight alive. By April 25th, they may already be down.
Ferris, look, I know that
I just don't see where they're going to get a win out of those last 8 games.
I know we look at this table every week, but man, to open this table and see Wolves only have won 3, lost 20. The Spurs have only won 7, lost 14, and drawn. I mean, that is just,
it's not good.
Brutal. I mean, because the real panic is here's my early prediction for next season. I think based on Nottingham Forest, not West Ham, even though that looked like it was going to be the case. I think based on Nottingham Forest and their inability to score goals, I think Spurs will survive.
I agree.
I don't know that they survive next season.
I think it's hard to look at.
Because this year they ended where they left, and they burned through managers.
Yes, but I don't know. You're going to bring in somebody new, whoever that's going to be. It's yet to be determined. Will probably be determined over the summer sometime. I think they're too talented to be anywhere near where they are, right? Now, we said that this time last year, and they're bringing in a new manager. Look where they are. So it's definitely possible that it's going to be again. But I think they have the finances and the players that it's not going to happen. Now, if they go down, that the whole thing's changed, right? That's going to be a fire sale of players. People's contracts get cut in half. That sort of thing. Not contracts, but how much they make. There's a lot of those type of things built into contracts to then reduce their wage that they're trying to get. So the only thing on Tottenham's mind right now, especially being knocked out of the Champions League, you focus on these last, I think it's 7 games, not 8, but 7 games remaining to try to stay alive in the Premier League. Every point counts. Whether you're down 1-0 and you need to get another goal for a draw, whether you're down 2-0, you need to get 2 goals. Whatever it is, they got to get some points from this game to stay alive. If they do not, they will go down.
Yeah.
And that's how they have to think. So I think being knocked out of the Champions League today was probably the best case for them to kind of how Big Ange put all of the eggs in the one basket of Europa League last year.
Until now,
now you put it all in the Premier League basket, and that's the only thing you got going for
And you are right. You got to stay in the Premier League. But I will say Champions League is actually where they've looked the best.
Sure, but now you're out of that, so that was what you got an extra payday or two. You got some players playing well, and that's it. Okay. Now it's you're not going to win anything to get into European places next year, right? Their chance to get back into Europe was to win the Champions League. I say that kind of as if it wasn't going to be true.
I mean, it did work for them last year with you.
It did, correct.
They were terrible.
But they don't even have that option on the table anymore. So now the only thing on their mind has to be staying in the Premier League. That's it. But period. End of story.
When you are a top 6 team and you got 7 matches left, and that is the thought.
That's part of the problem, though. They cannot think that they're a top 6 team in this position.
No.
They have to think that they are going to scrap and fight for every little bit.
Does it feel that way sometimes? Like they walk out there like they're still...
Oh, absolutely it does. Absolutely. It has the shades of what United players of the past few years have. Your Garnachos that would go out there.
Yeah.
That think that we're already deserving to be up and playing for one of the best clubs in England and the world. And we're deserving of just trying, of just going out into, we should win every match. But that's not how it works. That's not how the player mentality in the league works on these things. And you're right, they do kind of go out there. At least it feels that way, or it seems that way, to think that we're a top 6 team. That we're not going to lose to these teams, and we're going to still play expansive ball. And we're still going to do these things, and that's just not the case. So they have to just really focus in now, retrain the brains and the minds. And we have to scrap and fight for every point to survive in the Premier League.
Okay. Before we get over to our 2x2 minute drill, the other question was slot. My quick answer for this is, if you,
I'm not worried about
if you don't, I think survive the season. Yeah. At this rate. But if he doesn't attain top 5, he won't be there after this. He'll be gone before this summer.
If he doesn't obtain top 5, which may not even be Champions League places now because the coefficient isn't great. Liverpool going through, Arsenal going through is all good. We'll see what the Europa League games have tomorrow.
I know, man. After all that, with these massive blowouts,
Chelsea and Tottenham not going through in very spectacular, large margin ways, that hurts. So if they don't get into Champions League next year,
so this match is so important for Liverpool, and they screwed the pooch.
Yes, 100. But they still got something from the game. However, this feels more like a loss to them than it does a win for Tottenham, because they had the lead playing at home, 1-0 up, with an array of attacking talent, and they still couldn't get across the line to get a win.
Yeah. So I think he survives the season, but if they don't get into the Champions League, Europa, he might survive.
If they get Europa League and don't start off next season hot, he could be gone by Christmas next year.
But look, we'll get to Chelsea, but like Chelsea and Liverpool are both talented and inconsistent, or full of talent and inconsistent. There's a real world where Chelsea leaps Liverpool right at the end. And I think if they don't, like in this position, and if they don't get top 5, I think he's not going to be there after the summer.
I think regardless, he's earned enough to stay there throughout the season and throughout the summer. Listen, you've certainly given him enough to spend.
Well, okay, but
keep him around. They're not going to spend
that's
nearly
the problem,
that much this summer,
right?
I agree. I think that's kind of thrown off the chemistry of this team in a way. But I think Liverpool aren't necessarily one to be quick on the trigger, and I don't think they're going to be here. I think they at least give him a chance to see how he starts next season. You get off to a good campaign. You're fighting for the top spot, and you're doing well in your Europa League, assuming that they get in that and not the Champions League again, then I think he's given time because of what he did in the first season.
He gets to December. That's your vote then.
Yes, at least.
All right, let's move on over to our 2x2 minute drill. Some of the score lines and storylines from around Premier League match week 30. Or is this technically 31? Was it 30?
I think it's just 30.
Yeah, it's 30. It's 30. Boom. Looks like I'm up first. So for 89 minutes, like Arsenal would be dropping points in their lead heading into trying to win the title, but then up stepped the 74th minute sub and 16-year-old Max Dowman. It's like this was no other news but this after this match for the weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
His cross in the 89th minute, and a great cross too, by the way. I mean, like this was...
The cross was great. How the goal actually happened, not great. But the cross itself was, you couldn't have asked for a better cross.
But his cross 89th minute helped Victor Gyökeres get his 11th on the year. Curious of a sort of a fortuitous bounce that it got.
When you say you put the ball in the bread basket, that's what Dowman did on the cross, because then it hit the bread basket of whoever the defender was, and then literally trickled across to.
But it kept Dowman from getting the
Gyökeres. He's
the assist, I believe, right?
It did. Well, he wasn't going to. Yeah, it did, and it was Jordan Pickford who kind of came out and didn't get all of it, so it was his mistake as well. So it's kind of a calamity of errors after what was a very good cross,
right? But it was a very good cross, and Gyökeres doing what Gyökeres came to do, where he was just
under the net at the right play.
Yep, poacher. Just do the poacher thing. So you get that fortuitous bounce, ball goes in, but then in the dying moments of the game, Jordan Pickford goes up to try and get the equalizer. So the entire Everton team is up there to score, and Max Dowman broke free and slotted home the second for Arsenal and his first in the league in the 97th minute. At 16 years and 73 days old, Max Dowman becomes the new youngest goal scorer in the Premier League, surpassing, coincidentally, Everton's James Vaughan, who was back in 2005 at 16 years and 270 days, became the youngest. To me, the storyline out of that isn't what the kid did. It's that in the 74th minute, Arteta went to a 16-year-old kid and said, go win us the game. We have to win this. That's great. That's wild.
Yeah, I think it was.
This is a big game to be put in.
Got to give credit to Arteta for putting him on. Right, he had already done 4 or 5 subs throughout. He had put on Martinelli. He had put on Victor Gyökeres, who did not start the game, and then he put on Hickeby as well, which I think is the bread basket that it went off of, and then he put in Dowman. Got to give credit to him for putting on the long lad. Yeah, it's not his first appearance in the league. He's made 2 or 3 appearances so far. So how he changed the game because of his speed and play certainly won them the game, right? The goal, obviously, not a whole lot of times you don't have a goalie in net on how that played out, but his speed alone got him to break out fast enough to beat everybody back and basically just tap the ball in the back of the net. But in a game like this, you could tell Arteta was yelling on the sidelines. He was doing his Arteta's stuff because he was getting frustrated the longer this game went on. Although the kid came in the 74th, it wasn't until about 15 minutes later when all of this kind of played out. So good substitution there. Dowman came good. Good on him for getting the goal. Arsenal did what they needed to do, what they intended to do, and that was to get all 3 points from the match, and they did.
I think one of the stats that comes out of this game, though, because you said it, Gyökeres did not start this match. So that's 2 goals scored off the bench. I think this is a telling stat. Huh?
He's no Benjamin Sesko, though, off the bench.
No. Let's see. What's Benjamin Sesko at this point? 13? 12 off the bench? No. 4 goals and assists off the bench?
Something like that.
Gyökeres is 3.
Again, he's no Benjamin Sesko, though.
It's not that far off, though. But the big stat for this season, I feel like, is right now Arsenal has 21 goal contributions, 11 goals, 10 assists from the bench. Man City has 1 goal coming from the bench this season.
Yeah, and it speaks to Arsenal continually finding ways to win. It's not pretty. We've talked about set pieces and dark side of the game and those type of things, however you want to phrase it, that they've been doing. The time, trying to waste time, all of those antics that they've tried to do in matches, but they're continually finding a way.
Yeah, but we saw the stats,
and they are
Brighton
doing it.
wastes more time than Arsenal does in this season.
So that's not the point of this story. They're playing.
No, but you can't just be sliding in your propaganda.
No, those are all the talking points throughout the season of this team, right? But what I was going to say is they find a way to win, and they're the team in the league that have done it the most consistently.
Yeah.
You're not seeing that from City. You're not seeing that from Liverpool. You're not seeing that from Villa and United.
But City's kind of nuts. That's a lot of talent on the bench, though, to have that stat, I feel like. I do feel like.
In a way, but I don't feel like it's as...
Or is Kevin De Bruyne being gone just it? That's what takes everything out of City.
But it's a slew of things that aren't quite up. That's not kind of keeping them to tick. I don't know. I don't think you can point to one specific thing, but they're doing it the most consistent, and that's what's going to win them the title.
I will say though, speaking of pretty play,
go ahead.
A little bit of this is overall Premier League too. The Bayer Leverkusen matches were far more fun to watch Arsenal play because Bayer Leverkusen went to try to go score.
Well, yeah, but that's what you get out of a tournament style.
No, I know.
Short 2 games type of.
But in the Premier League, everybody doing these low blocks all over the place.
Well, because they're trying to survive for points in the league, and they're playing, the long game opposed to doing what Bayer Leverkusen did. Bayer Leverkusen, right? They're not expected to win. And so let's go out the same way we do in the Bundesliga and play against that in Arsenal and see what we can, get out of the game. And it almost worked. But you're doing that in a tournament style, which you can afford to do that in opposed to a season. You keep doing that all season, you're going to be down there in the bottom.
We saw Eddie Howe's Bournemouth do that.
The Premier League are.
Where they kept playing like they had in the championship, and it was fun at first, and then the teams caught on halfway through the season, and this was a real problem. Max Dowman. But hey, can I throw out one thing though that I really appreciated?
Sure.
I do appreciate Arteta after all the press interview. Like the last thing he said was, "Hey, can you all do me a favor though? He's 16. He goes to school on Monday." I'm paraphrasing here, but like, let's keep the temperature down. He's 16 years old. We can all keep talking about him, but like
well, and I think he went to school the next day with his Player of the Match award.
Yeah,
too. I thought I saw, but
yeah. But I was like, it's true because you are like, wow, this is amazing. You're like, oh my god, this dude's got to go do life now at 16. Yep. Can you even fathom? Can you imagine what was going through his brain when he thought, I'm open. I'm going to score my first
just run.
Goal.
Just
like
that's it. Just take off and run. That's
and
it.
I will say to share to our listeners the thing that I share with you when I showed the picture of oh god, why did I just forget his name?
Wayne Rooney,
boxing champion Wayne Rooney, scoring his first goal at 16. Older than Dowman, but still at 16 years old. And you look at the two pictures side by side. Dowman with like his braces, it looks like a child, and Rooney still looks like a 30-year-old that would kick your ass in the pub.
Yes, Wayne Rooney has looked 30 since about 2 months old.
Yeah, it's like he came out of the womb smoking, man.
Yeah, he's looked that way forever. I have to tell you, so real quick before we go on, we brought him up. Phil sent an awesome card of him too. So,
excellent.
But we have these laptops at work, and they're SAE laptops, which is a seasonal assignment. They come in and they just use these laptops for a month or 2 months, right, during the Halloween period.
Did you put Wayne Rooney backgrounds for all the people that work for you?
So they've been naming them over the years, like Pip and Mary and Cherry and Bilbo, and just naming them all sorts of things. So I'm like, listen, I'm the one getting the laptops. I'm going to make myself a team. So the first laptop I get in, Rooney. And I named the laptop Rooney. And everybody was like, what is Rooney? So I had to explain to one of the supervisors who he was. And I was like, you got to watch this video of Wayne Rooney. Not like his 10 best goals ever, and he's a Premier League icon and legend, that sort of thing. No, you got to watch the Sanchez boys when they go to Rooney Manor. Come on, Rooney, come out and play, mate. And he's taking target practice at their like butts and stuff. It was filmed in like the early 90s and the T90 thing, but it's brilliant. And he came on. I said, listen, that's Wayne Rooney. He's my favorite player. I love him. But he's ugly, and he looks like Shrek.
He does look like
But it's just, he's brilliant. I love him to death. But he's looked like he's been 40 years old since about 1 year old.
Just the picture that someone put online of the you know, and they weren't making the comment. They just were like, Wayne Rooney celebrating and Max Dowman celebrating with close-up shots. Like, my God, I would never have looked at Wayne Rooney and thought, 16 if I'd met
him. Right? Yeah. Wild. But so I named one of our laptops Rooney. There's I threw out names for the next laptop that we may get. I threw out Carrick, Oli, Ibra, Van Persie, Scholesy.
I love this. I just got a few new laptops for our team in, and now you've inspired me. I might have to go through.
But keep them to like the last name, something short, right? Because you could like how they were doing it was those kind of cool, quick names. And everybody's like, "Hey, grab the Rooney and bring it over here so we can do time cards. Grab the Rooney so I can send an email." Great. And half of them don't, they don't watch soccer. They have no clue. It's entertainment. So it's not like there's a great deal of sports fans that are throughout. I don't work back at FanDuel where everybody would kind of understand this type of thing, but it's just it's great.
That makes me happy. I love it.
Come on, Rudy, come out and play, mate. I'll have to get that
soundboard. We need to add that to the soundboard.
I need to figure out. Yes, I need to add a. Come on and play, mate. It's the Sanchez boys. Anyways, all right. Later that day, it was Manchester City who would not hold serve as 4 minutes after scoring their first, they gave up a goal to the battling bottomers of West Ham. City couldn't find the back of the net again, so they had to settle for a 1-1 draw. Has Pep and City lost the second half of the year magic that that we've all become used to seeing over the past few seasons?
I mean, West Ham, 28% possession. And I think the worst stat for City...
That's what City does. But they're not producing the goals this season like they have.
No, I was going to say, I think the worst stat is that West Ham didn't draw in the 89th like Tottenham. They drew the 35th.
Well,
that is a lot of time for you would think when I don't know about you, when I saw that goal, you think, well, they're going to score in the second half. And it'll be 2-1, 3-1. For them to not, this does feel different a little bit. Like, the foot's off the gas. I don't know, man. It's
just not good. Just.
And it was Holland that scored, right?
No, it
wasn't.
Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, if Holland doesn't score, it just doesn't work for them. They don't win.
It doesn't seem like it, but I think a lot of teams are going to play that low block against them and allow them to have the ball. And they're pretty much saying, "Well, you're going to have the ball, score on us, because if you can't, the one or two chances that we may have, whether on a counter, whether on a set piece, those sort of things, if we get one in, that might be it."
Well, and that's
what teams have done, and City just haven't been able to score. And they have an array of talent. They started Marmoush and Holland up front with some Manu off to the wing. They brought in Dorku, Ryan Cherokee, Phil Foden, Thierry Reinders, and they still couldn't produce a goal. All those players were brought in before the 75th minute, and they still couldn't produce that goal to get them over the line.
And around this match, they lose aggregate 5-1 to Real Madrid. And that second match felt like a terrible loss. Bernardo Silva getting the red card in the 20th minute, like they fell apart.
Did you see Vicinius's celebration after the first goal in response? Yes.
Yeah.
Crying because the City fans put a picture of Rodri holding the Ballon d'Or and giving it a hug, and Vicinius was, the Real Madrid fans of Vicinius were all kind of crying that he didn't win last year. So it was essentially a tifo like that. And after scoring the first one, Vicinius went, I'll give you a little bit of that back. Started the crying celebration, if you will.
I'll give this right back at you. Yeah, but I'm with you. Something feels a little worse about this draw for West Ham. By far, very limp, and West Ham, 2 draws, a loss, a win, and then another draw. It's weird to say they're in good form, but they do feel more viable to limp across the line than Nottingham to me. So, good on West Ham. You just held Man City scoreless. Or sorry, you kept them from scoring again and held onto a draw. And you're sitting 18th in the table. They're sitting in second. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the week went from bad to worse as following our drubbing to PSG in the Champions League. Our drubbing. Ron was supposed to read this.
For Ron.
Sorry. Love it. As following the drubbing to PSG in the Champions League, Chelsea couldn't even muster up a goal as they lost 1-0 to the visiting Newcastle at the Bridge. And then, although, by the way, Chelsea then received a slap on the wrist from their self-reporting transfer business under Ibrahimovic. Sorry. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Then what was the result today in the Champions League? Because they were down
today in the Champions League. Hold for show. I got this right in front of me.
Down what?
They lost 8-2 aggregate. They lost 0-3 today.
Yeah,
they got destroyed by PSG over these matches.
Yes. And we'll talk about the draw.
What about the draw? What about
the games on that side of the bracket in that league?
But what about the drawing? What do we think? Why did I just forget their manager's name? The professor.
Rosenior.
Handed the letter to Garnacho to read, or the drawing. What? Okay, I don't even know where to start.
Was that in this match or was that in the Champions League match?
Oh, you're right. That was the Champions League today. I'm sorry. You're right.
Or not?
So.
22 total shots from Chelsea.
But Ferris, but isn't part of the problem that it's not that just they lost this game, they're having an inconsistent season. How do I politely say this? And this isn't because Ron isn't on here.
Reece James in midfield.
Well, I think I would say this with Ron here. They look like idiots. This huddle around the ball crap and playing respect to the ball. That's the problem.
And they're not going to do it going forward, they come out and say.
Sure, but it's too late. They're doing all this weird stuff, and their manager sounds like a guy who's managing 15-year-olds who's like, hey, we're doing, he's on
a 7.5-year deal. So,
7.5 year deal. Homie's going to make so much money when he gets canned. I just don't. I don't understand what's happening. It looks like a joke. And when you have all the pundits of this respect around the ball thing, they're not just like, oh, this is stupid and stop it. Yes, they're like, this is dumb. Don't do it anymore. But they're like, you can't do this when you are playing like you are playing. When you're making the decisions, like you just said, of who to start and where to play them. It's like it wasn't under 15 squad and they're trying to figure out, well, let's see how you take to some other positions and we'll switch around a little bit. What is happening right now?
He's trying to figure out. He's trying to get something from the squad, but he's tinkering a lot. Right?
I was going to say, he reminds me of someone terrible at fantasy football who just won't stop tinkering and keeps screwing it up. Yeah. Yes.
He probably has one of those on the Premier League site as well, or he had one at least going into the season when he was playing, when he was in France or wherever he was at. Then he got here and he just kind of kept playing that, and he just gets confused from time to time.
But you ever hear that phrase when someone someone's in charge or a group of people are in charge or whatever, and people are just like, man, these people they're just not serious people. That's what he feels like to me. This doesn't feel like a real.
Well, I don't know if he feels serious, but he feels like he's overthinking it and thinks he's the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, he keeps saying it's all about my team, but he says I a whole lot.
And I get it. I say he's young, but he's, what did I say? He was July 9th, 1984. So he's like 15 days, or that math's not correct at all, but 13 days younger, or 13 days older than me. So, but he's young in terms of high level management.
Yes.
In the top league in the world. And he's trying to figure it out this season, which, in fairness to him, I think was a lot of what Chelsea was thinking anyways, and probably why they had him sign that 7-year deal, right? We just want to see what you can do this season and see if you can get us into Champions League this season.
Sorry, 5.5-year contract, not 7. 5.5. But whatever.
Not hearing the difference.
Yeah.
So I don't... He's going to have some of those gaffes, and he's not going to do things right, but I think he's just trying to outthink it all, opposed to what we've talked about on this pod several times now, trying to keep it simple, get across the line for the season, and then maybe look to see what you can implement in the summer.
You don't think Maresca would be doing them better right now?
It's hard to tell, no. Because
I don't think he'd be doing them worse.
I don't know if Maresca wanted to be there.
Well, fair enough. I mean, that's true. Like, what's this thing? Like, what is one article? We never thought Enzo Maresca was quite the right caliber of manager for Chelsea, but then came along Liam Rosenmeier. Like, I just, to me, this is like Tudor at Tottenham. Chelsea are too big for this guy, is what it feels like.
Yes, but not as bad. I think.
Oh, buddy, I don't. Hey, man,
the job's too big for him.
Not that bad, because at least Maresca had him this many points at this point. I don't know, dude. Like, I think they are foolish if they do not get rid of him and get made fun of, because here's Chelsea getting rid of another manager.
You have to pay him out for another 4.5 years.
What's that to them? They just got to pay some agents under the table, right?
Well, that's what they... Speaking of that, they were fined £10.75 million, so $14.3 million. They were handed a suspension, 1-year ban from signing first team's men players, which has actually been, I don't know what the word is, but it's actually not true, and restricted from certain academy signings for 9 months after the league concluded its investigation in a variety of breaches. This all goes back to when Abramovich was in charge. Some of the signings he made between 2011 and 2018 made by third party associated with the club to players, unregistered agents, and other third parties. Those payments were not disclosed to football authorities at the time, but were made for the benefit of the club and should have been treated as being made by the club. So when Blue Lake Capital? Blue Co.
Yes.
When Blue Co., Clear Lake, and Todd Bowley came in, they unearthed these things and they self-reported. So good on them, right? Coming in saying, hey, these books weren't right. We need to report this to the authorities. And you can certainly, the football authorities, that is, and you can certainly see how the football authorities took that into account, right? It's one thing if you lie and you try to get through it. It's better than you just come clean and you get through it, right? It tends to go a little bit better for you. And that's what happened here. Ultimately, it comes to a slap in the wrist. $10 million for a team that lost $600 million last year, or whatever. I don't know what the stats had just come out, but it is pales in comparison.
The problem, though, and it's a shame we don't have Ron on this pod, because he's our man on the inside for all the rules and stuff and the financial. The optics are just terrible, because Everton and Nottingham Forest get point deductions. The amount of money that Chelsea spent far exceeds the PSR violations that those two clubs made, and they get a £10 million fine.
It has to come to, this was over 8 years ago, and it was self-reported at the time. I think that goes a long way into this. I don't necessarily, do you agree with it or not? I don't know. That's up for debate, but I think it's taken into account. The 1-year transfer ban suspended for 2 years, meaning if there is no further breach in that time, there will be no transfer ban. So that's not actually a ban.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So in Everton's punishment,
their academy, what was it? Their academy signings only pertains to English-grown players.
Yeah.
It does not pertain to they can get in young talent overseas and bring them in through the academy. So the optics don't look great, but I think in the grand scheme of things, I'm okay with it. But it certainly doesn't look great when you have a lot of other instances of
because even the Everton, they did self-report, right? Like that was part of Everton's argument. It was like, hey, like we voluntarily gave you this information.
Well, I don't know if they self-reported. They voluntarily gave the information once the investigation, went live. The FA had no clue of this until Chelsea literally brought it to them and self-reported it based on the new acquisition of the Clear, what is it? Clear Blue Lake, something, whatever it is.
It's still just that, and the fact that Man City's thing is still floating out there. It doesn't look good. They need to,
right? Whether it's with Nottingham, whether it's with Everton, whether it's with teams in the Championship.
But it doesn't.
Until that gets determined.
But the problem is so much money done wrong with Chelsea, £10 million fine. These other clubs that don't have a ton of money, and in some instances, the PSR rules almost unfair to these smaller clubs because to survive, they almost had to figure out how to cheat, right? So it just props up the whole idea that, so many of these clubs are considered too big to fail. And whether the fine details might make you land one way or the other, it just feels like they have the powers that be are just handling this so poorly when it comes to meting out the correct punishments for everything. And I know some of instances they're different things, but
I don't know. You can go over to the
here you go on the BBC. Chelsea handed a 9-month academy transfer ban, as you said, and the fine over the registration of academy players. Yeah. But compare this case with Everton and Nottingham Forest, whose both clubs received points deductions for PSR breaches that appear far less serious in proportion. So what does it say about the effectiveness of the Premier League's financial monitoring that it admits that without Chelsea's voluntary disclosures, a number of these rule breaches would never have come to their attention? So I understand what you're saying. On one hand, well, they did self-report. So if you give them a 30-point deduction, that seems harsh. But the fact that this could happen and they would never know means, and this could be one of Man City's allegations. Is Man City doing that? Is Man United doing that? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't know, I guess. I don't.
It was stuff along the lines of like FaceTiming. What was some of the things that they FaceTime called a player and members of his families during which player A told him they were interested in him, player B visiting the training ground and receiving a presentation about the club's academy and its plans for him. Personalized merch with the name and player of player C delivered to the training ground for player parents. So it's kind of, I don't know, kind of like Jim Tressel and Ohio State players exchanging tattoos for merch or whatever they were doing at the time, right? And for PSR, you can go over to NY Times, so the Athletic, as always, they always have brilliant articles that kind of break these things down. And one of it is, what about PSR? As part of the Premier League's investigation, they effectively recalculated whether the payments made, had they been reported properly, would have put Chelsea in breach of profit and sustainability rules. Their analysis concluded that in no scenario would Chelsea have gone over the maximum allowed loss of $105 million over a 3-year assessment period. So when you're talking PSR, I think that's a big point to bring up, because regardless of the infractions that they did, none of it would have actually broken the PSR infractions with Everton and some of these other clubs are doing to help get them under that 105-year loss over, or 105 million loss over a 3-year deal. So I think that's an important thing to bring up here, that that wasn't found. So therefore, I think if it was found, that it would have really altered the PSR over those years. Well, then we would have seen a point deduction there.
I'll tell you, Todd Bailey,
because over those years, points would have been gained because of this, and I think that's where you would have seen a point deduction. But because the PSR wouldn't have been affected regardless of these breaches, and because they self-reported, and so it's a lot of these things added up, it was a slap on the wrist, right? I think that's where it just ultimately landed.
Yeah, it's a slap on the wrist. But Todd Bailey was prepared for it to be very bad because when he bought the club, it says in the BBC article, they held back $150 million on their purchase price because they said
they knew it.
They knew they were going to have fines from Abramovich.
But again, that shows a self-realization there in a way that shows we know what we're buying, so we're going to report this as soon as we buy it. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was they unearthed this prior to buying it and already told the authorities this is what happened under that reign. It's not going to happen under ours, but we're going to set these things aside, and we're going to tell you now before we go into this new deal to buy this club. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, but a suspended sentence for a transfer, it seems it's nothing.
Correct. It's a slap on the wrist.
It's nothing.
I think a lot of factors played into this that allowed the FA and whoever to give them a slap on the wrist. So
it doesn't matter that Jose Mourinho isn't there. Or Costa isn't there. They're still the villains.
Always.
No offense to the Villa villains.
All right, we'll be real quick with this last one because we got to get moving.
Speaking of the Villa villains.
Massive game for the race for the Champions League qualifications this season as my Manchester United dispatched Aston Villa 3-1 on Sunday at Old Trafford, courtesy of goals from Casemiro, Cunha, and the once again super sub Benjamin Sesko as Carrick's men move back into third, now sitting 3 points ahead of Villa and 5 points ahead of Liverpool. Why don't we just give Carrick's job now?
I mean, I think you don't do it for optics, until the season's done. But man,
you got to wait and see.
Absolutely give that man a contract. And even if he's only the kind of manager that might be here for a couple of seasons as you guys build and get some amazing manager that might be out there, I think he would set up the next he could take them there or set up the next person to take them there.
My argument is, you're going to wait till the end of the season regardless. I think that's just a good move.
I mean, I don't want you to keep him because he makes me nervous now.
But my thing is, unless you're getting Zidane, Ancelotti, high top 5 name type managers, well, why change anything? You have somebody in there that knows the club, that's a legend for the club, that's calm, that's cool, collected, that keeps it simple, that the players are obviously really taking to. You're having Sesko start some games, some not, but he's scoring either way.
It's the reverse of what we talked about between Tudor and
yeah.
Why can't I never remember the Chelsea's Renswar? Why can't I remember his damn name?
Rossinier.
Thank you. I never remember. But you know what I mean? Completely different situation. The players seem to they actually seem to love the dude, man, and they want to play for him.
But agreed. But next year, right? They've played just Premier League to Premier League games. Say he does get in, say United and we do get into the Champions League for next year. You're playing a lot more matches. You're going into Europe, which he's never coached in. It's not the worst thing. No, there's other things to consider here. Yeah.
I did like
that.
To
change out some midfielders here and a little extra attacking, and then something on the defense. But I think all in all,
it should be quoted. Bruno Fernandes is also having a great season, and Carrick's doing well. However, every other week they get an international break because they aren't in anything else, and so. That is true.
Yes, we played on Sunday. We're going to play again this Friday, though. That's about the only time we're going to do that. But
it's a good point you bring up. It's true. And I don't think there should be sunshine and rainbows. Sort of give him everything. But man, I would be hard pressed.
Get into the Champions League. That's the key. And then we take a break during the summer, and then we assess. I think that's a smart way of going about it, and I think it's how United's
because Carrick, come on, you don't want to send him to Tottenham. You don't let him fix that place. Don't let him do that, man.
Love me some Carrick. No, please don't. You said his name, though. Bruno Fernandes, 2 assists in this game, 16 on the year now. That's past Sir David Beckham and sets a new club record for number of assists in the season. He is now 4 away from the Premier League record single season, which is held by who? Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne at 20 assists.
That's correct.
So we'll see if he can get there, but he's
Thierry Henry with the Instagram thirst trap this week. I don't know if you saw it. It's like,
no, I didn't. What was that about?
He was like, I saw on the Galazzo show, the Champions League, the Big Meeks was so mad because he was like, I'm working out more than I ever have. I look better than I've ever looked. And you put out one Instagram post without your shirt and you look amazing. Can you stop it?
Yes. Oh man!
I know you and I talked about them last week, but you should catch any of the highlights from this weekend.
Unfortunately, I didn't watch a great deal of this.
Brilliant, absolutely. Yeah. Patrick Dempsey, not Patrick Dempsey,
Clint Dempsey.
Clint Dempsey.
Yes, I knew he was on it.
Did you see him on there though? He was like, "You guys have turned Hollywood on me." They're like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Carragher with your side part, and like it's not Big Meeks over here. It's Ozempic Meeks over here." He was really funny on the show.
That's awesome.
And I missed.
And I think Paramount Plus is getting ready to do a docuseries.
They were talking about that. He's got his documentaries coming out. Yeah. So anyway, if you catch the highlights, not with Patrick Dempsey, but with Clinton Dempsey.
Absolutely.
Really good, but a really good weekend of that. So sorry to go back to this match before we wrap out. Are we seeing shades of Emery at Arsenal? When Emery came in at Arsenal, they were playing brilliantly beautiful football. And it was like, holy cow, are they going from Arsene Wenger to this guy? Like this, what a good handoff this is. And then it just stopped working. And it started like they looked so good and then it just fell off.
I think it's a good point. I don't know if they're there quite yet. Also, they've had a good bit of turnover since he's been there.
Yeah.
And he's tried to offload like Oli Watkins and Emi Martinez in this.
The good thing,
but he's Donnie Malin, who was with the club on loan, went in January, was the Serie A player of the month. And you didn't hang on to him for extra firepower. Like there's just weird moves that they're doing. Yeah. They bring back Douglas Luiz, who he was a part of sending him off to Juventus for a season. Now he's back on loan. It's just weird things that they're doing that you wonder if it's Emery or the management of the club that's making these moves, that maybe they're not as fluid and as stable as they once were. And some injuries this year and that sort of thing. But I don't know if we're quite there yet, but I think it's a good point by you.
Yeah, I mean, like, let me look real quick. The guys Emery signed at Arsenal, I don't know, just in case you don't remember: William Saliba, Gabriel Martinelli, Kieran Tierney, not there, but a good dude. Bern Leno, like, you get Nicolas Pepe, you get David Luiz, you start to sort of fall off a little bit past that number. But I mean, those are good signings. I don't know, but it just started to fall apart a bit.
Yeah, and it's certainly seeming that way. They're not out of it yet, but this was a big game, and to get back in the game, to make it 1-1, and then for United to go on and score the 2 goals.
I think that's the thing, like a 2-1 game or something like that. I think it was sort of the way they just sort of crumbled. But at any rate, it just sort of gave me shades of, I wonder what's going on, and I hope not. I like having Emery in the league. I like Villa doing well this season, man.
I think he's going to be there. But glory, Man United.
To take that win and run with it.
Absolutely.
And now, a quick halftime break for our WTF AFCON Believe It. Ferris, tell us what happened 8 months. 3 months ago, 4 months ago, because it's been a bit.
Let me crack a beer or my second beer of the night real quick before I do. Okay, so if you remember back at the end of January, February, 57 days ago, so you can do the math at home. In the final, we had that crazy final where Morocco was awarded a very late penalty that would possibly win the match for them. And Senegal, all butthurt, walked off the field or headed back to the locker rooms, like literally off the field.
Yep.
And Sadio Mane, who plays for them, kind of rallied the troops, said, hey, no, we have to finish out the game. We have to see out the game, that sort of thing. The penalty went on to be missed. They went into extra time, at which then Senegal went on to win the CONCACAF over Morocco, who was the heavy favorites of this tournament. All right. Fast forward to yesterday. The Confederation of African Football released a statement on Tuesday evening, 57 days after the final, saying that the appeal board has declared that Senegal have now forfeited the game. CAF said the decision came after an appeal from the Royal Moroccan Football Federation following match on January 18th, which Senegal won 1-0 in extra time after the team walked off the field. So Senegal are now the AFCON, Morocco are now the AFCON champions.
It's simple. What the problem is, right? Way too long.
Yes.
The facts of that case were in front of everyone. And if it's true that them leaving was that, why isn't that decided that day to the next day it works? Why in the world
Correct.
do you wait this long and make it way worse?
Agreed. But I think that speaks to even how that match was handled, how all of it during the tournament was handled was just sloppy at times. And it's not like this is a foreign thing, right? There's been other games. There was an Instagram post earlier, or our article earlier, that kind of games in history that players have walked off and they've been abandoned. That's within some sort of laws of FIFA that if they walk off, they abandon, it's an automatic 3-0 win. That's how this is going to show up now in the history books, is that Morocco won this game 3-0 based on an abandonment by Senegal. You can't necessarily argue the facts, right? I don't know how this took 57 days to figure out. One team walked off, therefore, and it's abandonment. So why wasn't that determined either, one, in the time of play, which I don't necessarily expect the head ref to make that decision, but the following day afterwards or within a week afterwards make that decision? But 57 days after, it's just...
It's way too long.
Wild.
What is this, Man City with 115 charges? Like, at least that's, as much as I'm annoyed at that's taking forever, I will give credit to say, well, 115 charges sounds complex, and it sounds like you want to get this done once and be done with it. I still think it's too long, but whatever.
Yes.
But this is, they left the pitch. So yes or no, decide to make that, you know what I mean? I like... Again, where are the Ferris? You and I both.
Where are the adults in the room?
Well, we've worked for small companies. We've worked for very large companies. Yeah. And boy, man, the large companies really do care about appearances. Well, I would think that AFCON, I would think the Premier League, I would think these are large companies. And it is wild to me. I've worked at large places before that I almost felt like you're letting PR run too many things. And in these cases, I'm like, hey, actually, let me put my corporate Blake hat on and say, you should let PR run. You should, you guys, let's talk about this a little bit. Like, it's really wild to me.
And here was part of their statement. In CAF's statement on Tuesday, the government body said that its appeal board found that Senegal actions were within the scope of Articles 82 and 84, and that Senegal infringed Article 82 of the AFCON regulations, which state that a team will forfeit the game if it leaves the ground before the regular end of the match without authorization. Without the authorization of the referee. It took you 57 days to watch the replay of that match and figure that out, that they left it without the ref saying okay.
I mean, you can just watch it.
When you break it down in that,
yeah,
we're having a 5-minute conversation. We could have made this rule.
Yeah,
it took you 57 days to figure. I get it. There's lawyers involved and teams going back. I get all of that, but this has a very bad look because it's so long, right? If this happened 7 days afterwards, you know what? 2 weeks, right? A proper way to leave a job is you give 2 weeks. If this would have happened 2 weeks afterwards, perfectly acceptable. Everybody probably could have understood it and would have been this kind of news. But you wait to St. Patrick's Day to release this and go, oh, actually, we found this. What took you 57 days to figure this out?
Yeah. Yes. And then going, oh no. I mean, again, I don't know why at the worst it takes a week. To be fair, if you really want to, whatever.
The teams have already celebrated. They have their medals. There's a couple of Senegal players saying, you're going to have to come and snatch this thing out of my hand now because we're not giving this back. Fair enough. Make the decision faster.
Yeah.
This is like, you allowed us to celebrate with our nation. You allowed us to do all of this. You allowed us to do everything.
I like the tweet that was, or I don't know if it was tweeted. I think it was on Blue Sky, but both teams are ridiculous. You should have awarded it to the third place champions. That's what you should have done.
Yeah. But this is Morocco's, I think, second ever AFCON. Might be their first ever. But I think it's their second.
Wild.
No, their first ever. It would have been their first.
Hey, Ferris, maybe it's just a portent that Man City will really get nailed, and you and I will get a couple more trophies in the closet.
Yeah. I doubt that.
Retroactively.
I would welcome that very much.
I wouldn't even care about the asterisks because it would just be funny.
Yeah, who cares?
It's just It's just funny. Yeah.
Oh man.
By the way, the day that news finally breaks, there's no content to write. We're just gonna hop on the pod, crack our beer, and just go.
Yeah. We might get through like a 6-pack of beer each by the time we go that one.
Yep.
All right. This is the La Liga's roundup. All right, we were talking a little Champions League earlier, but let's kind of go over the rest of the results. We told you that.
Let's go with the sad one.
Yeah. The 8-2, or do you want the 5-1, or do you want the 10-2 aggregate, or do you want the 7-5 one?
No, it's the 5-3
one, or do you want the 5-3? Oh, yeah,
that's the sad one.
Let's start on the 5-3 on aggregate. Sporting 5 goals on the night. Blanked Bodo Glimt, and Bodo Glimt is out.
The Cinderella story's over, and man, I mean,
there you go.
But two things. Holy crap, Sporting! You had to score 4 goals, and you were like, "I'll take 5."
Yes,
I mean,
it took them to extra time because they went 3-3, and then they scored 2 in extra time.
Yeah, but just brilliant, man. I mean,
and for their reward, they take on Arsenal, who beat Bayern Leverkusen 3-1 on aggregate. They scored 2 goals, one by Eze, and I don't remember who scored the second. But
Declan Rice, baby.
Yes, that's correct.
That Eze goal, so sweet, so sweet.
Yep. So Sporting Arsenal take on each other. On the other one, Tottenham made a little bit of a comeback, but still nowhere near it, as they ultimately lost on aggregate to Atletico Madrid 7-5. I think it was 3-2 today to Tottenham. So bounce it out. Then I texted you guys this because at one point in this game, it was tied 3-3 on aggregate, and Newcastle and Barca was 2-2 in the first half, under 30 minutes, and it was tied 3-3. Lamine Yamal penned to end that one, and then in the second half, I went to a few meetings. I came back, and I was like, what the hell just happened? 8-3 is how it ended on aggregate. What was actually the final score today? 7-2.
7-2. Yeah, man.
7-2.
Barca just, I mean, good Lord, man. I mean,
turned to not just second gear, but third and fourth gear, and they took off.
But this created a larger problem because, as you alluded to earlier, all these English teams getting decimated starts to make it look like, well, this Premier League might not be getting 5 slots for the Champions League.
Very true. Pop over to the other side of the bracket here. No, it's not March Madness. That starts tomorrow. So this is the Champions League bracket. On the other side of the bracket looks tasty because PSG will take on Liverpool. Now, Liverpool, although down 1-0 to Galatasaray, as we spoke earlier, they won 4-0 today. So they advanced 4-1 on aggregate. PSG just continued what PSG does, and Chelsea just continued what they do, and they decimated Chelsea 8-2 on aggregate, with today's score being 3-0 over Chelsea at the Bridge. So PSG and Liverpool take on each other in the quarterfinals. How tasty is that? Well, more tastier than that, Real Madrid continued their dominance over Man City as they won 2-1 yesterday. So they advanced 5-1 on aggregate. And they will take on Bayern Munich. What a two-leg tie that's going to be.
Well, it just was a crazy two-leg tie. I mean, good Lord.
You just have this is the hardest side of the bracket by far. You're going to have some big names teams knocking each other out.
10-2 aggregate for them, though, against Atalanta. It's just... Yes.
It almost seemed cruel because in the second leg, we decided to play Kane.
Yeah.
Remember, he didn't play at all in the first leg, and you were already up 6-1 on aggregate. He scored a brace today, 4-1 today over Atalanta, and 10-2 on aggregate. So, again, your quarterfinal teams, PSG will take on Liverpool. Or let's actually start date rise. Real Madrid will take on Barcelona April 7th, while Sporting from Portugal will take on Arsenal. Then on April 8th, PSG will take on Liverpool, and Barcelona will take on Atletico Madrid in their first leg ties. Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Sporting, and Arsenal on one side of the bracket, PSG, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona on the other side. Man, that is not a side of the bracket to be on right now. That is brutal.
Well, I don't know. Both, I mean...
No. PSG, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona. That's like the group of death that they were on, a group together by far. But that is the Champions League wrap up of the round of 16.
Now let's move over to an island. Well, not. I guess it's an island nation that shares its border with another nation on the other. But you get the point,
if you say so.
Over in the Scottish Premiership, well, it's starting to heat up in here in Scotland. As now, with only 3 match days left, the lead at the top of the Scottish Premier League, held by Hearts, has been cut down to only 3 points following their Saturday loss away to the mighty second to last in the league, Kilmarnock. But don't let their place in the table fool you, as on the day, Kilmarnock, despite conceding the lion's share of the possession, had the better XG and the most big chances. That one big chance is all they needed as they toppled the top of the BPSP Stadium Rugby Park. Now that lead up to the was cut down to 3 points, as Celtic did their job, putting up an unanswered 3 goals to come from behind against Motherwell at Celtic Park, and then a point behind Celtic. Rangers kept pace as lone Tuur Roman's goal proved to be enough for the Teddy Bears to not only get a win against St. Mirren, but remain 1 point behind Celtic and 4 behind Hearts. So it's squeaky bum time in Scotland, and we ask, can the Hearts hold on? We need you to, because we want to buy your kits if you win.
Yes, yes, 100%. Man, I actually watched all of the Kilmarnock and Hearts match. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell have Hearts gotten this far? Because Kilmarnock looked a far better team in this. And Hearts just never really looked into it. But listen, it is tight. Hearts have now lost twice in the last 5 games, so that's why their lead has been cut so much. I really hope they can see it through, but it is going to be tight in the last 3 games. So let me tell you here. Hearts will take on Dundee United. They'll host them this coming Saturday. They'll go away to Livingston, and then they'll host Motherwell. So Motherwell are in 4th. So that last game game on the last match week will be tough. But Dundee's in 7th and Livingston in 12th. But listen, Kilmarnock was in 11th, and they still lost 1-0. All right, so Celtics, last 3 matches. I just had it. Here we go. They take on Dundee United, then Dundee FC, and then St. Mirren. So they have a little bit better run in towards the end here, as they don't play anybody below 7th. Then we go to Rangers' last 3 games, and then Celtic will play in the FA Cup final there in Scotland. They have Aberdeen, Dundee as well. Man, they play a lot of Dundee United, and then Falkirk. Again, a little bit better run in for Rangers there, although Falkirk is in 6th. So it's going to be tough. But Rangers host 2 games at home. So do Hearts. Celtic is 2 games on the road. Or no, they're 2 games on the road. So maybe that plays into it. Not sure, but yeah, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on the old Scottish Premiership as it is officially squeaky bum time, as they're all pretty much equal on goal difference and only split by 3 points. Sorry, I thought it was 4 points away. No, they're 3 points away from Rangers, only 2 points away from Celtic. So, yeah,
and
very tough.
And if you don't mind, before we get to America, in my goal to make sure we are the only American podcast that covers talking about a team from the National League North.
Yes.
A Darlington update for our Darlow.
Yep.
So they ended February winning. They won 3 in a row. Also netting like 8 goals in that process. Beginning of March has not been friendly. They lost 3 in a row, but they've won their last 2, putting 4 on the board, 1 against Leamington and 3 against Radcliffe, and they have moved back up to 5th in the league. So this is really fun. First place gets guaranteed promotion in National League North. 2nd through 7th have a playoff to get promoted. So it's not like the top 3 or top 4, anything like that. Or top 2. So first place has 85 points. 2nd has 81 points. Again, mind you, 2nd still got to be in a playoff. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th are 66, 66, 62, 61, 60. The playoff spots are brutally tight, and then the ones just outside of it are only out by 2 points. So I hope our friend Lee's heart is okay, but this is an exciting, and again, when these clubs, when they can get a promotion out of the National League North, that it's huge. That is a huge leap out. So I don't know how well they'll be able to fare, but it's nice to see Darlington fighting for it quite well. I spoke to Lee after they had a home match that did not go well, so I hope the next time I talk to him, that is a bit better.
No, Lee, and listen, come on, Darla. I'm cheering for you. Hey, if you want a fun time, go to Foot Mob, bring up the National League North and South tables, get a cup of tea, throw on a Harry Potter movie, and just read some of the names. In this league.
Oh yeah, Radcliffe, Buxton. They all sound like characters.
Kingland Town,
Kidderminster Harriers,
Workshop Town,
Merthyr
you
Town,
have Worthington, Torquay United. Hamill Hempstead.
Yeah, Chorley.
Dagenham and Redbridge.
Doesn't Chorley sound like a character? Like absolutely. Wait,
Tonbridge Angels.
Worksop
Hampton
Town.
and Richmond sound like a law firm.
Yeah, but of course, also this is home to Macclesfield, who did well in the FA Cup. They're sitting in 6th, just below
top
Darlington.
of the National League North. You have the Dorking Wonders. Dorking, Dorking Wonders.
Did you get to Spoonymore Town?
No, where's that?
That's Spoonymore Town in 12th right now.
Oh, cheerio, Spoonymore Town.
I mean,
love it.
And I got to be honest, I'm getting more excited to go take a trip out to the UK and go to see Darlington play.
Yes, my next trip out there, I'm absolutely going to do lower leagues. My first trip out there, 2 Premier League games, but I definitely want to see some of the lower league games because these are just brilliant too. You know, we laugh at all this stuff, but the structure they have there in England is just brilliant.
Hey, there's a chance. You know what I mean? That's what makes it so fun. If I move real quick to the championship, so right now Middlesbrough is sitting in 2nd. I would not say comfortably, but sitting in 2nd in approach. And it's funny because our buddy Lee over in Darlington, I believe it's west of, and his wife is from Middlesbrough, and I brought up Middlesbrough. He's like, I hate that team, and it's great because the championship. How many leagues away is that from the National League North? But yet the people there are like, oh, friggin' Middlesbrough. Like I just love it. I love the history and the passion. It's so great. Oh man,
Southampton with a big win today in the Champions League. They've won 4 out of their last 5. They're up into 6th right now.
Yeah, man. You know what's good, Ferris, while the world feels like it's on fire? It's football.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank God for football, man.
Absolutely. And thank God for the NWSL.
Amen.
Back. I'm going to another game this Friday. But real quick results from the first week. Now, mind you, we are up to 16 teams. So there was 8 games played in this busy weekend. On Friday, a little bit of an upset here. Washington Spirit 0, Portland Thorns 1. Sophia Wilson made her long-awaited return as she came on in the second half in the 77th minute, but it was a lone Olivia Moultrie goal that on the road in a chilly night in Washington, Portland Thorns went and won. The next day, I don't know if you watched this, Gotham FC, the holders of the NWSL Cup right now, right, beat the new team, Boston Legacy FC, who had a great turnout, over 30,000 in attendance at Foxborough Stadium there, or Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, I should say. Esther Gonzalez goal, who came on at half, and she just scores goals is what she does. I thought Boston was going to come back, but a Bianca Rose St. George second yellow had her sent off in the 79th minute. And Boston just couldn't quite get across the line against the champs. But to have a Boston and New York game being played there, always fun. Kansas City's Current, although they went down 1-0 at half to the Utah Royals, which is a bit of a surprise. They came back to win as their new signing, Crocs Bethune, scored in the 57th minute. And then the former Utah player and who drafted her, Ali Sentinor, scored the second. Some shambolic defending there for the second one for her to score that goal. But Kansas City got off to winning ways 2-1. And you know who the head coach is now? Since there's no Vlad, whatever his name is, I can't think of it all of a sudden.
Vlad the Inhaler.
Velasco. You know, I can't. Chris Armas is the head coach there at Kansas City now, which is quite interesting. He was quite exuberant on the sidelines there when they scored their goals and won. Then elsewhere on Saturday, Bay FC got off to a good start in Denver Summit's first game. We're going to see them here on Friday in Orlando. But Alex Pfeiffer at age 18, she is looking like she's going to be a one hell of a talent. She scored the first in the 8th minute. And then Jolie Anderson in the 31st minute. Denver did get their first goal. Melissa Kozler, a German, for them, scored in the 20th minute. So it was 1-1 there for a bit until Anderson scored. So it was 2-1 at half, and that's how it ended. Because in the 27th minute, there was another sending off. Janine Sonis from Canada got sent off in that one. So Bay starts their campaign off well, as do North Carolina Courage, as it was the Ashley Sanchez show. A brace on the day. And man, she's such a player. I'm surprised the Spirit gave her up a few years ago. I know they had Crocs Bethune in the wings and that sort of thing, but man, Ashley Sanchez is just such a player. She's so fun to watch. She scored the 2 goals in the 29th and the 87th minute here, and the Courage went on to beat Racing Louisville 2-1. Houston Dash get a surprising win over San Diego FC on the road in Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego, but a lone Mackenzie Robbie goal at just before halftime in the 45th plus 7 scored. Pretty interesting here because you just had a bunch of moves with these two teams, right? The biggest contract NWSL deal, Kat Macario signed with San Diego Wave just a few days ago. This is a massive deal. This now surpasses the Trinity Rodman deal that we spoke about a few pods ago and earlier in the season. So take her through to 2030 NWSL season for a total contract worth roughly $8 million. Kat Macario coming from Chelsea, but has kind of been out of favor there. Massive deal, big help for the Wave. And the Wave look like, yes, they lost this one, but with their Brazilian kind of front three there, Portillo, De Silva, and Danina, now you add Kat Macario into that. Oof, that is scary. And then you have Mackenzie Kenza Dali in the midfield. I think San Diego's going to be okay, but good win for the Dash. The Dash, who just today, they had 2 players depart, and they're pretty big names because going to Denver, which we're going to probably see, we might see them here on Friday, but you had Jasmine Ryan and Delane Sheehan join Denver FC, the pair who just joined, who had just joined Houston before the 2025 season, so before last season, now move on as a pair again to Denver FC. So a lot of changes early as the window just closed either yesterday or today in the NWSL. All right, you go on to Sunday. Angel City just put a lashing on Chicago Red Stars. 4 different scores, 4-0 on the day. Fuller, Shores, Borges, and Hughes. The big thing here is that Savvy King came on for Angel City, which was massive because if you remember last year, she had a cardiac arrest on the field, and for her to come back playing is awesome. So not only get a 4-0 win, she comes in on the 63rd minute, and just all smiles there in Angel City as they advance. Here in Orlando, not bad, not great, not. It was a weird one. Orlando pretty much dominated the game for a vast majority, stats wise, and expected goals and total shots and big chances. We had 5 big chances. We just couldn't get the ball past. It just looked like we were just kind of.
It's just one of those days,
right? So we went down to Jess Fishlock, and she kind of broke through the Rafa and Mace center back pairing. Listen, I'm such a big fan of Mace. She's my favorite. I have her on the back of my jersey now. She is one of my absolute favorite players. Not the best on this play, but she ultimately came good, and she played some brilliant balls over the top. They're playing her in center back, which is interesting because she's more of a right back, left back. But as she's become, as we all get a little bit older, I think that pairing back there, it took a while because I didn't think she looked comfortable at first playing center back. It's a different position, right? Where you progress up the field, how you progress up the field, when you progress up the field, when you make those runs, when you step forward. You can see she was doing that a lot in the first half. I think she settled into it more in the second half of the game. So I'm curious to see how that progresses, but she's awesome. But anyways, we went down to just Fishlock at the elder age of 39, kind of breaking through and finishing the ball off. Then at halftime, which we knew was going to happen, there was a storm that was coming through. 2.5 hour delay occurred, and we didn't get kicked back off until they came out once. Then they had to go back in, and it looked good coming out of half, or the 2.5 hour half, I guess you will, because Barbara Banda got back on the score sheet, and man, she looked bright. She looked fit. She looked bright. She looked strong all day. She looked good, and she is a threat. The rest of the attacking up there was kind of lacking on the day. So she tied it up 1-1, thinking to go on to win. But the new girl in town, Brittany Ratcliffe, she went on to score the game winner in the 83rd minute of play, and it was off of kind of a ping-pongy ball back and forth in the box off of a corner, and one of the smaller players on the pitch at 5'4" headed in the lone goal there. So, I look at this one and I don't put a lot of blame on Seb. I didn't like the substitutions in this, but it's early in the season. You don't want to risk, any sort of injuries because, he subbed for Banda, he subbed for Ovial, he subbed for Rafa, he subbed for Ohani. He subbed for Yates. He subbed for some of the bright players that were impacted the game a lot in the first half for some very young players that we just haven't seen yet. Solely Washington from at age 20 from Jamaica came on. New girl to us in town, Reagan Robbie, age 24 came on. So just some young talent there. We'll see how they progress in the year. But also it's to note, Seven Caston, 21 years of age, from the United States. She played in our first ever NWSL game. She started. She did okay. I'm not the biggest fan of her quite yet, but again, it's really, really early to see. So, and as it is with all of these teams in the league. So that was your NWSL first weekend. 8 games, the most I've ever seen here in the NWSL. They continue. They carry on. This Friday, Amazon Prime, Orlando Pride host Denver Summit. Cannot wait for that one.
Well, and I'm glad you said something real quick, because I just wanted, just for those listening, like, it's a little different than it has been. So if you want to catch NWSL, and I highly recommend it, CBS, Paramount Plus, going about 14 matches, ESPN, including games on CBS, as well as Paramount Plus. Prime Video is the exclusive home to 25 plus Friday nights matches. Ion has Saturday night matches throughout the season. ESPN and ESPN Plus has got select games and playoffs. Victory Plus, which was a new thing to me, has a free direct.
Deal with them.
The free direct to consumer for local / regional matches. And then NWSL Plus has got the league's free direct to consumer for matches not carried by partners. So it's a little bit more spread out this year, but still easily accessible to get a hold of.
Super fun league to watch. You got Kat Macario back in the league. How cool is that? And that has been your La Ligas Roundup.
Boom! So that wraps up this pod. For our Beers the Pod from Trogs Brewery, I had the Le Grave Triple, and it has lasted me to the end of this pod. It was a sipper. It is delicious.
Nice. I'm on my second one of the Diary of Haze, the Citra one from Hopsize Brewing Company in Bonita Springs, Florida.
And Ferris, one last bit of news before I ask you for the Zlatan quote. We discovered that we might be getting. Oh yes, we might be.
There's only one Zlatan.
We might be getting more Zlatan quotes because he just took a gig for the World Cup.
Yes, I cannot wait. That is so exciting. He posted this great, there was this great video they said where he's like in a street side, the camera comes from high to low into this street side cafe, and he's sitting there and he's sipping some espresso and talking about how, where'd everybody go? We just had the Milano Olympics here. Don't worry though. And he signs it off by saying, America, you're welcome. Like, oh my God, he's going to be part of the Fox broadcast of this year's World Cup. Can't wait.
I can't. We're going to get more good quotes. So you best be pulling out your notebook.
I got it. And we have to remember.
There's only one Zlatan.
Only one. Do you have a Zlatan quote for this evening?
Oh, you tell me when to stop there, fella.
Stop.
We almost closed out this page. We have 3 of the 4 done. I don't know if I want to read this one.
Every now and then he's got one that's like,
especially after.
Oh, I know which one it is because you've avoided it before.
Yes.
Yep. They can't all be winners.
Nobody's saying he go ahead and do it again.
All right. Stop.
All right, a full page of. All right, I'm going to read you a long one because.
By the way, for those who don't know, this is from the Zlatan Style quote book.
Yeah, this is Zlatan. It's a book written by Gordon Law, the funniest Zlatan Ibrahimovic quotes. And the one that I didn't read, it wasn't bad or anything in terms of like grotesque or bad language. It's just more talking about the differences between men and women's football that don't necessarily agree with them on. So choose not to read. But anyways, so I'm going to read you this one. It's quite a lengthy one, but Zlatan makes clear to Man United fans that his confidence is not arrogance. People have the image of me that I am a bad boy. I'm this, and I'm that. People are curious. How is Zlatan? I'm a family guy. I'm taking care of my family. But when I come on the pitch, I'm a lion.
because lions, they don't recover like humans.
That's the big difference. I don't believe I'm arrogant in the way that people think. I'm confident. I believe in myself. That's not being arrogant. That's something I believe is an individual strength in the human being. I have confidence and I believe in myself. I have a vision and I do everything. I work hard for it. I don't believe that's arrogant. Fair enough. Well done. Well said.
That's a good one. Oh, love it. Well, that wraps us up. Follow us on the Brewtiful Game. Also leave us a rating review on your podcast, catcher, Apple Podcast, whatever. Let us know if you do. We'll try to get something out to you. Tell your friends and family about us. Great aunts, uncles, whatever, man. Get those second cousins twice removed in on the
grandma
Brewtiful
from
Game.
Back in Ireland. Send it, yeah. We'll something green.
And then last but not least, I've got a question for Ferris to take us home.
Okay.
Ferris, what is ET short for? You should know this. You work near the ET attraction.
I do. Extra turbulent.
So he can fit in the spaceship. I need to just record your reaction to these. Love the beer, cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.
A little disappointed in you. No Irish jokes?
No Irish jokes. I didn't have a good Irish joke this go round. I didn't have a good one.
Ooh, I love the beer. Whatever. Cherish the game. Yeah.
The
Aaron, go
Brewtiful Game. Slanjar.